Good day, folks, and today we are going to have a look at my two favorite Harley Davidsons, the Fatboy and the Road King. So we are going to be comparing my 2024 Fatboy to the 2024 Road King Special. But before we do, we have a viewer bike to check out. This is Chrome Sporty's 2022 Heritage Softail, which he's already got 48,000 kilometers on. He's got front fork deflectors and quick detach luggage rack with a backrest for this bike. Also looks like he's got custom mirrors and even a drink holder on the left side. Looks like a pretty comfy bike, and thanks for sending that in. And if you would like to see your bike in a video, send me a pic and I'll get it up on the channel. My email address is in the description to this video. First, let's have a look at the 2024 Road King Special. This is Harley Davidson's stripped down touring model. This is a blacked out bike, and this specific model is in the base billiard gray. This bike weighs in at 806 pounds running weight and is just shy of 8 feet long. It has a ground clearance of 4.9 inches and a seat height of just over 27 inches. As this is a touring model, we have a 6-gallon fuel tank and, of course, saddlebags that hold roughly 2.5 feet of storage. The Road King comes with mini ape hangers with the gauges down on the fuel tank. We have a 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine with a 2-into-1-into-2 exhaust with tapered mufflers that exit on either side of the bike. A 19-inch wheel in the front with a 130 tire and an 18-inch wheel in the back with a 180 tire. This bike also has dual disc brakes in the front, single in the rear. The suspension is 49mm dual bending valves in the front forks, and in the rear we have dual low-height hand adjustable shocks. The Road King also comes with rider safety enhancements such as cornering enhanced ABS, electronic linked braking, vehicle hold control, and tire pressure monitoring system. Big, almost bullet style LED headlight in the front, and folks, overall, this is a very classic looking Harley Davidson. Now, let's have a look at the 2024 Fatboy, which is my personal ride, by the way. This is one of Harley Davidson's cruiser models. This bike is chromed out, and this particular one is in vivid black. The Fatboy weighs 700 pounds in running order and comes in at just over 7.5 feet long. It has a ground clearance of 4.5 inches with a seat height of 26.5 inches. This is a cruiser model, so it comes with a 5-gallon fuel tank with a big 5-inch gauge in the dash and a set of low handlebars with 2-inch risers. The Fatboy has the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine and 2-into-2 staggered shotgun style exhaust. The bike has an 18-inch wheel with a 160 tire in the front and an 18-inch wheel in the back with a large 240 tire. Only single disc brakes in the front and rear of this bike as well. The front forks have telescoping 49mm dual bending valves for suspension and a piston coilover monoshock under the seat for rear suspension. The rear suspension can be adjusted by hand. As for rider safety enhancements, the Fatboy only comes with anti-lock braking. It comes with a large LED headlight in the front encased in a chromed out nacelle, and the Fatboy is one of, if not the most, iconic Harley Davidson ever made. The Road King Special only comes in one trim, which is black. As I said previously, this model is in the base color for this year, which is billiard gray. The King also comes in 3 other colors: vivid black, red rock, and white onyx pearl. All colors other than the billiard gray will cost you an upcharge. The Fatboy only comes in 1 trim as well, but this one is chrome. As for colors, there are 4 available. This is the vivid black, and there are 3 other colors: the base billiard gray, red rock, and shark skin blue. Other than billiard gray, the 3 other colors will also cost you an upcharge. Now, speaking of paint, let's have a look at that. Both bikes only have 4 color options, and not the best options, if I'm being honest. But the Road King's paint is very basic, and what I mean by that is that there's really nothing to it, not even a pinstripe. That is where the Fatboy at least has a little more to it. Not much, but there are a few lines on the fenders and the side of the fuel tank to have a tiny bit, just to break up that one basic color. Now for overall styling, we have the Road King Special, which to me has the stripped down styling kind of as a cruiser, as it does not have a big gaudy fairing and electronics, yet it is on a touring chassis with stretched hard saddlebags. It's a low-slung touring model that is perfect for those who don't need much to just get on the road and start crunching miles. As for the Fatboy, this is your iconic cruiser. It is a low-sitting bike that has just enough rake at 30 degrees to give it that hot rod stance. The large chrome nacelle on the front with the beer can covers on the front forks give it a steamroller look. And we can't forget about those big, wide fenders and tires on the front and back. This makes the Fatboy look like a freight train coming down the road. The engines on these bikes are pretty much the same. They both have the 114 cubic inch engine with a ventilator air cleaner. The big difference between these two is the trim, with the Road King being black and the Fatboy in chrome. Interestingly, on Harley's site, the Road King has a very slight edge in horsepower at 95 and foot-pounds of torque at 121, but it's a difference so small you aren't going to feel it. As for electronics, the Road King has a large gauge with an analog speedo and digital odometer, trip A and B, fuel range, and gear indicator. This bike also has an indicator bar under the gauge and locking ignition switch under that. The Road King also still has the fuel gauge in the left side gas cap. The Fatboy has a 5-inch gauge with an analog speedo with digital gear indicator, odometer, tachometer, clock, trip A and B, and fuel range. The gauge also has a digital fuel level readout. The ignition on this bike is on the right side handlebar controls rather than on the dash like the Road King. The handling on both bikes is close to the same, however, not exactly the same. The Road King Special has slimmer tires, especially in the back. There's a lot less rubber between the 180 tire on the Road King and the 240 tire on the Fatboy. The Road King also has the better lean angle with 32 degrees on the right and 31 on the left. The Fatboy only has a lean angle of 25.6 on either side. The rake on the Road King is also a little less for a little tighter turns. However, the Fatboy is a shorter bike. Where I find the Fatboy to have the advantage in handling is with the weight. The Fatboy is the much lighter bike, coming in at just over 100 pounds lighter. And although the Road King has the edge in lean angle, the shorter, lighter Fatboy can almost be a little more maneuverable in certain circumstances. As for comfort, I have to give the edge to the King. The Road King is a touring model and definitely has the better seat, that is for sure. The forward controls and foot position, along with the mini apes, are quite a comfortable ride. The Fatboy seat is not conducive to longer rides, and although the foot position is about the same, the handlebars are much lower. For a taller rider, this can cause you to slouch and put a little more strain on your lower back on a longer ride. Where the Fatboy may be better than the Road King Special is in the rear suspension. The monoshock, in my opinion, on the Softails, is the better suspension. Now, let's talk about performance. Both of these bikes have the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine. Harley lists the Road King as having 1 horsepower and a few foot-pounds of torque more than the Fatboy, but let's face it, that really isn't anything noticeable. But I give the edge to the Fatboy. The reason for the Fatboy getting the slight advantage is the size. As I had said before, the Fatboy weighs about 100 pounds less, and this is what is going to get the Fatboy moving faster off the hop. Flat out at highway speeds, there may not be much of a difference, but the smaller bike still has the edge. So in the end, this video was not about which bike is necessarily better. Both bikes are extremely good in my opinion, and although I have said in other videos, I find the Fatboy to be my favorite bike, they each definitely excel in their own certain groups. The Road King Special is a touring model. It is meant to eat miles and takes comfort more seriously. The Fatboy is a cruiser, and although it is not necessarily meant to spend hour after hour on the highway touring. So is one better than the other? Well, not really. It's all up to what the rider is looking for. If you're looking to go on some trips in comfort without all the bells and whistles and a fairing, the Road King is your machine. And if you're looking to cruise around in style on a little shorter rides, the Fatboy is your go-to. It's all about what you want. If you are more on the frugal side, the Fatboy is a little cheaper by a few $1,000s. But the choice is ultimately up to you. I wouldn't fault you for choosing either of these bikes. But let me know in the comments which is the one for you, and we will catch you in the next one.